First guest is the executive director of America First Works and former National Coalition's director for President Trump 2020, Ashley Hayek. Thanks for coming on the program. How could the media, I thought they could walk and chew bubble gum at the same time. How could the media say the only thing at the top of their mind is Donald Trump, no mention of Joe Biden at all?
Well, that's part of the greater plan, right? And one of the things I think you maybe forget to mention here is that, remember, Donald Trump was actually impeached for looking into the corruptness of Ukraine. Like, that was what Democrats impeached him on forever ago. So anytime this man tries to unveil or expose the swamp, they come after him. So where there's smoke, there's fire. And this goes for Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Petraeus and Clinton and Obama and everything tied to this entire situation. And see, two things are true. Number one, the fact that this DOJ is weaponized beyond anything we could have ever imagined. And number two, the mainstream media is aiding and abetting the DOJ and their weaponization of this country, of the American people, of our government.
This investigation began with an alleged violation of the Presidential Records Act, which is not a criminal statute, which the archivist told us that every modern president has violated. They used that to get themselves inside Mar-a-Lago and attempt to entrap Trump in either making false statements or obstruction, that's ham sandwich indictment stuff. That the FBI got themselves in there with this big shock and awe raid. But again, the PRA is not a criminal statute.
That's right. And so that's why they're talking about the Espionage Act. But remember, the president, the head of the National Archives, is a political appointment. So that person is appointed by who? Joe Biden. So all of this is a complete political coup. It's a complete weaponization of our government. So you think, this is silly, and I don't want to say that the American people are not smart enough, but when you think about the National Archives, like, you have one job: preserve the records, right? But they're not sharing anything from the Biden family. I know that there are FOIAs that have been issued, investigations that have been launched asking for records that they're not turning over, but they have no problem targeting the former president because he is the #1 political opponent to President Biden.
That's the bottom line here. They want to put their political opponent in jail, but they can't use a Russian dossier anymore.
Yeah, well, there's that. And they will use every single thing possible. And the mainstream media needs to get their ratings up. So why not continue to cover this? Because, right now, if you look at Twitter, MSNBC is trending because people are having a backlash against the hosts. They have not done journalism any favor, because all they've done for the past 4 years is put President Trump on, and he made their ratings strong. So now that they don't have them, they're going to make every news story possible about him to get their ratings back up, to cover their butts, and to help support President Biden so that he stays in the White House.
One of my favorite things about this is they say, well, the difference between Joe Biden and Mike Pence and Donald Trump is they gave the documents back. Well, Joe Biden said in an interview with PBS that he had documents going back to 1974. So he held documents for what, 48, 49 years? And then said, okay, now you can have them back? That's like saying he robbed a bank, he gave the money back, but we're not going to charge him with robbing the bank. If you steal a car and bring it back later, you still stole a car. You can't say, well, Trump's is worse, so nobody else gets prosecuted. And again, everyone who has sat in that office has violated this PRA with no one coming after them.
That's exactly right. And not only that, but Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and Petraeus, they were not the president of the United States, and they did not have the authority to declassify a document. That's the bottom line as well, because President Trump has the ability to declassify a document. They do not. When Joe Biden was asked about that information, he said, oh, I had some documents in my garage. It was locked up next to my Corvette. That's not very secure. Hillary Clinton had over 30,000 emails on her personal server. Was she ever charged? No. And what did James Comey say? James Comey said, well, no one would ever go after a Secretary of State. And then what happened? James Comey himself leaked information to try and disparage Donald Trump. Was he ever prosecuted? Was he ever charged with anything? Of course not. The only person that they are trying to hold accountable is somebody who could actually declassify documents. So I think the American people can see right through this.
Isn't it amazing that all of the leadership of the FBI that defrauded the FISA court with the dossier. They couldn't substantiate it. They couldn't verify it. It was uncorroborated. They couldn't get Christopher Steele to actually come up with any truth behind it, even for $1 million. And they still took it to the FISA court to get a warrant. And no one's been held accountable for this.
No, and next week we're going to hear Durham testify as well. I think that's going to be very telling. I think a lot of what President Trump has said over the past 7 years now have been actually true and proven true from the very beginning when he was spied on. I remember doing an interview literally in 2017, and the left was saying, oh no, they didn't wiretap a president. They absolutely wiretapped him. It was completely wrong, and what they continue to do is wrong, and it's wrong by the American people. No liberty.
I got to leave it there, Ashley. Thank you so much for your time today. When we